Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Volley Rally. Today, it's just going to be me. Going to try something a little different, but we still get a lot of questions, and I hear this from other dealers in the space who wonder why their calls get labeled as potential spam. And I know a lot of you know we have the dealer identity service, and we can solve that problem for you. But this is not a sales pitch of that. This is more educational, and I want to help you all answer that question of what exactly is getting my calls labeled as spam, and just help you to understand exactly what's going on, because there is a lot of weird information out there about this problem, and I know that it's really affecting dealers a lot. We do look at some of the stats that we see relating to this, and it is pretty substantial. So the first thing that we need to understand is people wonder if it's related to your dialer that you're using. And the answer to that, I mean, it's probably no. So it doesn't really matter what dialer you're using, as long as you're using a compliant legal dialer and making legal calls, whether you're using your desk phone or Volley or your click to call through your CRM or whatever other tool you're using, that shouldn't make too much of a difference. Unless, of course, the dialer you're using is doing something that's against the TCPA or some other regulations, but that's a whole different topic altogether. So if it's not relating to the tools you're using and how you're making calls, what is it? Well, the truth is that the carriers have implemented these algorithms onto their networks that analyze every single thing relating to your calling habit, and they're looking at every call you're making. How long was the call? When was the call? How many calls did you make in a day from that phone number? How many calls did you make yesterday? And so on and so forth. They're looking for consistent traffic patterns. And something that people wonder is, what about consumer complaints? Well, they do take consumer complaints into account. If a customer calls their carrier or even the FCC and complains to them about a bad phone call or something that they received from your phone number, that can impact your calling reputation. But it's not as large of a factor as you would think. The bigger factor is these algorithms that are sitting on top of the carrier's networks, that they see your phone number come in and they think, man, okay, how many calls did this number make on my network today so far? And compare that to yesterday and so on. And they're looking at everything relating to your dialing practices. And the truth is, it's also not just relating to your volume. So people often think, oh yeah, if you make a lot of calls, you're more likely to get labeled as spam. And that may or may not be the case. So we have the ability to run phone numbers against the carrier's networks live due to our partnership through the dealer identity program. And what we see is that it's not all volume. So we've seen phone numbers that a dealer may make 1,000 phone calls from this phone number in a month, and it's not labeled. Whereas they have a number that made 4,000, and it is labeled on one or more of the carriers. But I've also seen a phone number. I've seen many phone numbers that they made one call in the span of a month, and that one call was flagged by the carrier that they were dialing the customer on. So uh, it it's not just a volume thing. They're looking for consistent traffic patterns, and it is a pretty hard problem to solve. So with that said, short little episode today, but I did want to help answer the question of what is getting your calls labeled as spam, and it has to do with the algorithms that the carriers have implemented onto their networks that are analyzing your calls. And I hope that this has cleared it up a little more. It's not necessarily the dialer or anything you're doing. It's purely it's purely your traffic patterns. So feel free to let me know below if you have any other questions. I can do a follow-up on this and talk a little more about the potential spam problem. But besides that, Thank you so much. Let us know if you have any questions or feedback or something else that you want us to talk about. And I hope you have a fantastic day.